Hey y'all. Sorry, not really. Welcome back to Sankofa Podcast YouTube channel with your host, Silverstein. So I'm sure there's some updates I'm supposed to do. I just want to let you guys know that I'm not at all upset that nobody watched my last video. In fact, I'm relieved. I did address some things in my last video that I will address again. I said some things about my childhood, my upbringing that might have painted my caretakers in a negative light, which is the appropriate lighting for the times. But I do have to clarify that both of my parents have gone on to become upstanding and contributing members of society. My last video, I talked about the steps to healing from childhood trauma, like the fast track. And then I said that I kind of just spilled out the information and then said that I would come back and do a more detailed talk about each thing because one, apparently I talk too much, and two, my dog is sick. She's still sick. Please say prayers for my baby girl, Hazel. That is my best friend. She's not feeling well. She started a new medication about a month ago, and I've taken her off the medication, and she just has not evened out. There's a fear of bloat, which is deadly for dogs. And unfortunately, I cannot afford to take her to the emergency room, so she has an appointment on Tuesday. But obviously, if she deteriorates, I will obviously just go to the emergency room and, I don't know, call my mom or something. I don't know. So last time I asked you guys, I know you guys don't know because nobody watched my video, to find a picture of yourself as a child around age 8. That's when most of our personalities are fully developed scientifically. Or a period where you feel is before the trauma, or where you at least seem happy as a child. This is me at about 7 or 8. I'm eating an Oreo. Can you see me? Do I look like me? Anyways. I want to talk a little bit about this girl. I hate that I say so much. It actually really annoys me. She had an extravagant imagination, to say the least. She loved nature, loved climbing trees, loved the outdoors, loved meeting new people, making friends, loved swimming, even though I was scared to death of water, like from birth. It might even be genetic. Just scared of water, but still, once I got in the water, I liked it. Once I learned how to swim, I felt way more safe. But I remember jumping in the pool, and each time was like so scary for me. Which actually, I have a story about that. Should I tell you the story? I'll tell you the story another time. Let me stay focused. What else did I love? I loved dress up. I loved acting out scenes. I loved acting out scenes from my own life, like impersonating my aunts, uncles, my parents. I loved singing and loved dancing, loved ballet. Before I really knew what ballet was, I knew that I loved the sounds of classical music and ballerina shoes and stuff. Loved bugs, loved animals. I think I already said all that stuff. I mentioned before that I grew up in kind of a rough environment. There was a lot going on. Honestly, for the environment that I lived in, I had a lot of privilege that other people in my environment didn't have. But at the same time, it was a pretty rough environment. I'm talking violence, drug and alcohol abuse, drive-by shootings, pretty rough environment growing up. But like I said, I still had a lot of nice things, lots of toys and stuff like that. I had a lot of good attention too. I have a huge family, so that I think really helped cushion me. When I do talk about my trauma, I've been told that I'm really candid about it, and like the person I'm talking to is like in tears, and they're like, how can you not be in tears? I think that part of that is that I started talking about it almost right away. My big traumatic experience that I had. Unfortunately for me, growing up in this fast-paced kind of lifestyle was normal. So I didn't know that the things that were happening around me were abnormal. I thought everyone had some semblance of this. At age 8, I was molested by my stepfather. And I can say that a lot of things after that changed for me. A lot of the things that I liked to do, I didn't like to do anymore. The molestation went on for some time. I went from like a size 2 to like a size 16 in like a year period. Maybe 2 years, but I gained a lot of weight at a short amount of time. I quit being more active. I quit going outside as much. I was impacted in a lot of different ways. And like many people, I gave up a lot of the things that I loved, like the playing and the acting, and embraced some more negative behaviors, like fighting. Where was I going with this? I wanted to walk you guys through the exercise that I talked about in my last video that nobody watched. That I honestly really don't care that nobody watched it. Thanks for not watching it. It's probably really horrible. So a girlfriend of mine said that she will start editing my videos. I don't know honestly how long I'm going to be doing videos. We'll be getting to the podcast real soon, and I think I'm more comfortable not showing my face to people. So the steps that I listed and I posted on my Instagram were: recall it, name it, ground it, forgive it, release it. So I wanted to demonstrate what those steps looked like for someone else who wants to try this exercise. Recall it and name it, honestly, can be put together. That's just tell somebody. Tell somebody. If you've never spoken about, I think whether it's a accumulation of instances in your life that have led you to a place of feeling stuck in the fight or flight mode, or whether it's just like one incident that just changed the trajectory of your life, tell somebody, someone you trust. And I said in my video that nobody watched, if you don't have anyone you can trust, talk about it in the mirror, write it down in a journal. The first person I told about my incident was my little brother, which now in retrospect, is probably really traumatizing for him. And unfortunately for me, no one stepped up to protect me from the situation, and the abuse continued. The grounding exercise, the ground it, is basically an exercise where you recall that moment or those moments or one of those moments and basically relive it in your mind and in your body and pay very careful attention to each emotion that you are feeling. So I will walk you through that exercise. If you're watching, go ahead and close your eyes. I want you to be aware of your breathing. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth maximizes the oxygen flow in your body. I want you to keep that rhythmic breathing. That is going to be a marker. You'll notice when that breathing stops or gets quicker or slower or becomes labored. I want you to take note of these things. So eyes closed and breathing. I want you to think about where you are right now. Are you sitting in the chair? Are you at a desk? Are you on the bed? Are you on the floor? With your eyes closed, notice where your body is physically, the feeling of the floor, under your feet, on your phone, in your hand or your lap. And I want you to think about that moment where things changed for you and try to recall the details of that moment, what led up to that moment, what happened during that moment. Notice any changes in the feelings in your body. Maybe there's some uneasiness, some fluttering in your stomach. Maybe your breath has sped up a little bit. Maybe you salivate. Maybe your cheeks are feeling warm. Maybe your head is feeling cold. Pay attention to these subtle changes in your body. And now address them. What is that heating up feeling in your chest? Is that tightness, anxiety? Is your breath becoming shorter? Try to maintain the deep breathing. Now name the physical emotions. Fear, anger, disappointment, physical pain, wanting to run away, feeling frozen, paralyzed, feeling gross, maybe self-disgust, confusion. And just take a moment and kind of absorb these emotions, kind of feel them, really feel them, and whatever response you have to them, allow it. If thinking about this and feeling it and living through it brings tears, crying, screaming, yelling, you want to punch the air, punch something, don't punch anything, but punch the air. Go ahead and feel it. See yourself and see it. And the next step is forgive it. So to forgive it, you're going to embrace all of this. Wrap a mental hug around you in that moment and accept all of it. And forgive it. Say out loud, I forgive this. I forgive what happened. I forgive myself. I forgive them. Even if you don't mean it, say it. I forgive you. I forgive you. Now imagine that you can take all of that energy and hold it in one place. Usually we hold things in between our stomach and our chest. That's usually where all the emotional stuff happens. And I want you to take a deep breath and gather up all of that. And when you exhale, you're going to release it. You might need to take a couple breaths. And with each breath, feel it leaving. With each breath out, feel it emptying out of you and away from you. And let it go. Release it. And then the next part of our exercise, now that we've emptied, is to fill it back up with what should have been there. And that's going to actually be a different exercise. Go ahead and hit the pause button if you need a moment. The next exercise is going to be with our childhood versions of ourselves. This is me. And what I want you to do, actually I'm going to leave it up here. What I want you to do is tell that little boy or girl, we're going to write it down actually, what they needed in those moments and what you find yourself needing now, because that's what happens is we still need the things we were missing then. But now we're grown-ups and now we can take care of that child. That child is still valid. She's still, he or she is still in there. I need something to write on. And we're gonna put back some things. So actually, I think I'm just gonna write on picture. Number one, I think for everyone is sometimes we feel like a lack of love. So I hope everyone can see me. Just in case. Bring it down here. We need some love oftentimes. So you are loved, little girl. Protection. For me, I did not feel protected. I'm protected. Didn't feel worthy, but I am worthy. Forgiven. I am special in a good way. In a good way. I am talented. You are a talented little girl. You're amazing. Strong. Because I felt really weak. I didn't feel amazing. So what we want to do is take some of the negative ideals that the lies we tell ourselves, that we're not worthy, that we're not smart, that we're not deserving, and put the positives that, did I put worthy? Yeah, worthy. Smart, because I didn't feel smart after that. Happy. Deserving happiness. Capable. Did I put strong? I did. Okay, and so you guys do this, and what I want you to do, if you did this exercise with me, is take that picture of yourself and put him or her somewhere where you can see it every day, and I want you to just be nice. Start your day every day being nice to that valid version of yourself that is still so valid and true right now. One thing that I can say, I did this exercise before I did it here, and I was emotional. I didn't know if I was gonna be able to do it here because I was emotional, because when I was 8, I didn't feel 8. I was doing a lot of caretaking at 8 of people that should have been caretaking for me, as well as my siblings. I didn't feel 8 at all. I felt like a grown-up. In fact, I was often told, oh, you think you've grown? And I kind of did, because I had so many adult roles. I need to fix some of this. But one thing that this exercise did was put into perspective that I was a child. I need to put I put forgiven on here. And I'm gonna put forgiving. Forgiving. 'Cause I was angry, man. I was real angry. And I looked and I realized she was just 8. She was just a kid. How could she be at fault for anything? We blame ourselves. I'm gonna put blameless on here. We blame ourselves for things that we had no control over. And we walk around, and put shameless, we walk around with shame. We carry it with us. And one of the things that talking about those incidents does is release those feelings. It takes some of the weight off of our shoulders. Anyways, there's mine. I'm gonna put it on my bedroom door. And every day, I want you to recognize that that version of you is still valid. And now, the second part of my Instagram post, I posted sleep, eat, exercise, protect. The sleep, I think, is self-explanatory, though I do plan on doing something for people who struggle with sleeping properly. I want to talk about, and I'll probably just save this for the podcast. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me again. I want to talk about how we can create healthy sleep habits, because sleep hygiene is just as important as physical hygiene. It is physical hygiene. It's very important. Eat was the second thing. And I talked about in the last video that nobody watched how if your food comes from a package that crinkles when you open it, it's a good chance it's chock full of chemicals to keep it lasting in that package forever. If it's any kind of processed food, fast food included, it's got chemicals that have a real impact on the chemicals in your body. Those positives are usually fast and the negatives are usually long. You eat something high sugar, high chemical content, you feel satisfied, happy, elated, get a little dopamine output, and then after it's gone, you feel worse, you feel bad. I can tell you personally, if I eat Doritos before bed, I wake up depressed the next day. I eat really clean, so I'm more sensitive to when I put junk in my body, but the fact is, junk is junk. If it's junk food, it's literally junk food. Put less junk in your body because the chemicals have a chemical effect on your system. And people who are suffering from chemical imbalances should be really mindful about putting the chemicals, about balancing the chemicals that we put in. Exercise is also part of balancing the chemicals. So it doesn't have to be strenuous exercise. If you can do 10 push-ups in the morning, that just enough to get the heart pumping a little bit. It also gets some dopamine kicking a little bit, some little feel-good hormones going. Do that. Take walks. It's a complex system of a complex operating system happening when you are walking. Take walks. I talked about this in my last video that nobody watched. You can take walks with your kids or your dog or your cat. If your cat likes to walk, but if taking a walk with something else or someone else causes any kind of stress, don't take them on your walk. The walk is for you. Take a walk. You should take a walk twice a day. I honestly can't think of a reason why anyone cannot take a walk twice a day. Take a walk. Get up, get out and take a walk. If you don't have anyone to supervise your child, take them with you on a walk. If they're hard to supervise, throw them on a leash, shoot. And then the last part of that post, the last line on that same Instagram post was protect. And who I'm talking about protecting is this kid. Protect this kid like they're on the outside of you and they belong to you and they're in your care. We let people treat us any old kind of way sometimes. We let coworkers talk about us or talk at us. We let superiors talk at us. We let teachers belittle us. We let friends belittle us or put us down. We put ourselves down. Would you call your kids stupid, ugly, dumb, fat, lazy? If you do, you might want to consider changing the way you're trying to communicate, because science has showed that negative enforcement doesn't do as much good as positive enforcement. And we need to start treating ourselves. That child is super valid. Now, the third and final part of the exercise was, since you guys didn't watch my video, I gotta tell you, I asked you to put together a list of things that you liked to do when you were post-traumatized. Oh wait, not post, before the trauma. What were the things? Because if you were like me, some of the things that you liked to do, you didn't do the same. Don't get me wrong, children are amazingly resilient. Children will play through the pain. You'll be living in a tent with no food and go to school and still have fun at recess. Okay, you might have some crazy outbursts or something like that, because obviously things are not perfect at home, but children have an amazing ability to play through the pain. What tends to happen though is when things are not properly addressed, and this is like this crazy phenomenon that happens, is memories can resurface. You could have a flashback. You could recall something from your childhood and be like, I haven't thought about that in 20 years. Where did that come from? And then there's an unsettling in you. Sometimes you don't even recognize that there's an unsettling in you. Do you lash out? Do you find yourself going from 0 to 100 real fast? Do you find yourself just without any reasoning not wanting to be around certain people or do certain things? Do you find yourself with a lack of motivation for no apparent reason? These could be from not addressing stuff that occurred in childhood, and they have, like I said, they have a tendency to resurface. So a good life should be the things you like to do. Oftentimes as adults, we do a bunch of things that we don't like to do. Like go to work, unless you really love your job. If you really love your job, good for you. Not all of us are as lucky as you. Some of us just do it because we have to, not because we want to. So the idea is to find some things that you like to do and spend time put some time aside in your schedule. If you can do every day, I think that's best. I probably do something every day for my childhood version of myself. I am probably too in tune with my childhood version of myself. Just kidding, but maybe not. So name 5 things that you enjoyed doing as a child. For me, it's dancing. Ice cream, swimming. Extra points if they're things that you don't do or haven't done in a long time or that you miss doing. I got 3. Reading. Man, I don't get to read like I want to. I love reading. I really do, but I'm busy. Dancing, ice cream, swimming, reading. I need one more. Tree climbing. So the idea is to do more of the things you like. Your list might not look like mine, but I have 5 things on this list. I think in 7 days, I can find a way to do one of each of these things. I say dedicate some time every day if you can, but if not, maybe every week. Let's say Monday, because Mondays are hard sometimes for some of us, to doing one of these things that brought you joy as a child and reconnecting with that joy. So dancing is on the top of my list. Honestly, I do that all the time. I actually really do make a point to do most of these things, except for eating ice cream, because I have an addictive personality and I tend to not have a stop button. I also am very, I don't want to say cheap. I'm very cautious about how I spend my money. And I'm very cautious about how I purchase sweets like ice cream. So for me to buy ice cream, I have to buy like a pint to justify spending that much money, because, or else if I can get a pint for $4 versus a bar or something for like $2 and some change, it just makes more sense to get the pint. But my problem is I'll eat the whole pint. So I might not do the ice cream, but I might. And you know what? I'll let you know. Anyways, I hope that you found this to be helpful, valuable on some level. Please feel free to comment and follow me on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter under the name Sankofa Podcast. Yeah, take care. It's 4th of July weekend. I hope everyone is being safe and has fun and spends time with loved ones. I do not live near most of my family. I have like one relative in the city where I live. Well, 2. I'll probably reach out to them because I feel like I want some family in my life. I don't know if they're open for company though, because 6 feet. Anyways, I love you all. I hope that brought something to your life, and take care. Thanks for watching.